Hello, my name is Kwame Nyaning, and I lead the experience design team here in London for Digital McKinsey. And I'm actually filling in for one of my colleagues who was supposed to be here. And if he was here, he'd be showing you a bunch of slides like this that talk about Digital McKinsey and what we do, which is really about transforming businesses at the core using new and emerging technologies, right? And focusing on the customer, zero-based design, rapid ideation, rapid technology development, and then organizational transformation and capability building. But he's not here, so I'm going to tell you about my holiday. I went to Tuscany over the summer and spent some time and was drinking a whole lot of wine, and started thinking, like, I like wine. Wine is cool. Maybe I want to start collecting wine. And I went and looked at what the people that really know about wine, what they buy. And that sort of led me down this weird rabbit hole. And I found this diagram that talks about sort of the value that wine holds and how that value is performed over time. And it's like outperformed the S&P. I said, that's interesting. And I started to think about, what if there's this thing such a thing as a connoisseur economy? If there's something where people who have an in-depth knowledge and appreciation of something can actually create economies. And what are the experiences? Because I'm an experience designer. What are the experiences that underpin that? And how do you leverage that? And I started again going down another rabbit hole. And then my cousin Rasan called me. This is my cousin Rasan. He lives in Oakland, and we were talking, and he got really excited about these shoes. He was telling me about these, like the new Yeezys are out. I said, the new Yeezys? Okay, that's cool. And he sent me this link, and they're $1,000. $1,000 for a pair of sneakers. And he said, and I said, how can you pay $1,000 for a pair of sneakers? He said, lots of people are paying $1,000 for a pair of sneakers. Because he's a sneakerhead. Like he collects sneakers. And he's a connoisseur of sneakers. And so I went back to this idea of this connoisseur economy and started doing a bit more digging and found out about StockX. Now, StockX, right now, it's a stock exchange for shoes. But they call themselves a stock exchange for things. And I guess that their sort of aspiration is to be able to create these exchanges between peer-to-peer people, peer-to-peer platforms around stuff that they love. And looking at StockX, they've done some interesting things. They've used data and analytics and market dynamics and visualize them in a very interesting way to create this exchange of sneakers for sneakerheads. And when you look at the numbers, it's not trivial, right? This guy at the top, his market values collection is $500,000. So again, I'm thinking about, all right, what is this connoisseur economy thing? How does it work? What are the experiences that underpin it? Because what's happened is an ecosystem is built up. This is a store in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica. It's called Undefeated. And they sell rare and exotic sneakers. And this is like at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, people are lining up to get whatever the new version, the new Jordan that's coming out. And this is LA. People like lining up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's a pretty big deal. And then you have this guy, Jason Mark, who has started a business where they clean shoes. They clean sneakers. So you go out, you wear them. Maybe you get them a little bit dirty. So you drop them off at this guy. He cleans them, and he charges you for it. And he also has products that he offers. So this idea of an ecosystem that surrounds these connoisseur economies began to kind of take root in my head. Because what we're seeing, and this is a still from a movie that recently came out called Kicks. It's about this kid in Oakland who gets his sneakers stolen and goes on an adventure to get his sneakers back. What we're seeing is a growing appreciation and a growing expertise for things. And everybody in this room makes a thing. If it's digital, if it's physical, if it's a service, it's a thing. So how do we begin to structure experiences in a way that create connoisseurs. Because when you think about sneakers, it kind of all started with this, right? Michael Jordan had his own sneaker, and the Jordan right now is probably one of the most valuable sneakers out there. As a brand, it's extremely valuable. But it wasn't really until this moment when Spike Lee created his "It's Gotta Be the Shoes, Man, It's Gotta Be the Shoes, Man" commercials, where we saw this elevation of the shoe fanatic, the shoe connoisseur. And he embodied the aspirations and the values of a lot of people who then became collectors and built up massive stockpiles of sneakers. And not just because they're sneakers, but because they appreciate the small details. They appreciate that this is a dead stock sneaker, meaning that it's a sneaker that maybe went unsold 5 or 10 years ago that they're now able to buy fresh out of the box. And they cherish these things. So why should you care about this moving forward? What does this mean? For me, as someone who works with clients who are wanting to make things that resonate, I've heard a lot of people here today talking about the experience and how important designing the appropriate experience is. It's kind of time to go beyond that, because we've reached a level of competence around tooling and expertise within the practice where just having a nicely designed web page, just having sort of somebody smiling through the phone when you pick it up is no longer enough. We need to begin embedding these things in our customers and in the people that use the things that we make. So connoisseurship, at its core, I think, is about the appreciation of intangibles. It's about really, really loving those things that other people don't really even care about. And what's beautiful about this is that connoisseurs are loyal. And when you talk to people in the retail business, when you talk to folks that have an app out there that's kind of competing in the market, loyalty is one of the hardest things to actually gain. And so when we think about that and the long tail and how it works, and we understand that connoisseurs don't necessarily live, definitely not in the mass, and they're kind of further along in the long tail than you would expect as far as all the other people that are into kind of like little niche things. And they're also not at the bleeding edge. And what I've seen in continuing to kind of look around is that there are companies who are beginning to figure this out, who are beginning to understand that these connoisseurs can actually stretch the market that you have by embedding their values, their perspective, and their appreciation in it. Adam Bank is a purely online digital bank. They created 1.4 million logos so that when I sign up for my Adam Bank account, I get my own unique logo just for me. That type of personalization is going to be a big deal when you're talking about creating experts, people who really appreciate their experiences. Truly is a company that sources experiences. So I took my wife out the other night because I booked a dinner on Truly, and it's like we had a beautiful tour through the National History Museum. We went down, sat at this restaurant. They served this dessert with like dry ice and smoke all over the table. It was all about the experience. It was people biasing that as opposed to me just kind of going out with her to some typical like regular date. Hotel Icon is a hotel in Hong Kong, and it's a teaching hotel. So they take the top 6% of their students and they put them to work in the hotel, so that while they're taking classes, they're also learning through practical experience. And this type of immersion in the context in which you're going to be playing in is key to the connoisseur, key to the person that cares about what their experience is. If then that is a platform that allows you to create these recipes around automated sort of functions for your life. So this is an example of Tesco created a bunch of recipes that allow your refrigerator, or sort of allow you to order things automatically sort of in the background. And they've turned their brand into a verb. They've turned their brand into something that is active. And this sort of activity is something that resonates with people when they're thinking about who's going to be the most positioned, the best positioned, to give me what I want. And are they going to do it in a way that allows me to have it exactly how I want it? Company Lululemon has these things, has ambassadors. So this is a clothing company, a yoga company, that has gone out and sponsored yoga teachers and other people in the community who can be emissaries for their brand and who promote their values and who promote their way of life. And this is all kind of, resolving in a way in which it's beginning to be monetizable. And you have Instagram. Now, finally, if I have 5 million followers on Instagram, they can buy the shoes off my feet in my post. And this kind of empowerment of Instagram's base, individuals who have more followers than companies, are creating opportunities for them to expand their reach, have greater relevance in their followers' lives, and to also promote an aesthetic and a style and a sense of refinement that any company would probably struggle to get to. And then lastly, this is Hyper. And they're interesting, they're a video platform. And there's, like billions of videos on the web right now. What Hyper does is they upload one video per hour. So you go to something like YouTube, where there's millions of videos being uploaded every single minute. Hyper focuses on very, very highly curated, only the best videos are going to be displayed on their platform. And people go there and they watch those videos because they know it's going to be good, because they know that these videos are going to reflect their perspective, their values, and their taste level. So what are the things that we need to focus on if we want to begin developing this connoisseur economy? The first thing to realize is that connoisseurs are cultivated. They're not converted, right? Like you have to actually invest in developing these relationships and giving them the tooling and exposing why you're relevant and why you matter to them. We also need to realize that taste is personal. So highly personalized experiences are going to be those experiences that lead to me feeling a greater sense of relationship and relevance to a brand. And experience is the juice. Experience is the thing that's going to carry this along. The experience has to be, while not necessarily the driving engine, it has to be the thing that sort of carries forward your message in a strong, coherent, and effective way. And then I think for a brand or a product or a service that wants to develop this longing in people to know more, to want to sort of invest in their product, you have to be the connoisseur you want to see. You yourself have to have a certain level of understanding of what's best within your industry, what's best within the category of product that you have, and bring that to life. And then also creating these ecosystems of desire. We hear a lot about ecosystems. Most of the ecosystems we talk about are either very closed or incomplete, and they're primarily tech-driven. An ecosystem of desire is about understanding what moves one person from one point to the other through how they feel and what they want and what their aspirations are. And then you need to personify your passion. You need to put that passion into an emissary or an ambassador or some sort of aspect of a relatable figurehead that can be associated with your brand or your service. And we do this, both kind of explicitly, as far as like Spike Lee and Michael Jordan with Nike, or you do it implicitly by cultivating a culture of connoisseurship. And then empower your base like Instagram did. Instagram, I think, is now finally poised to do something interesting because they've allowed people to self-select those people who they feel are relevant and important to them, and then purchase things from them. And that hasn't really been done up until this point. And then be stingy. Don't just give everything away, right? And what you do put out there in the world, make sure that it's highly curated. Make sure that you're thinking about why it matters, why it's relevant. Because at the end of the day, what we all want in a customer is somebody who will pass over something that isn't as good as yours because they know that you've put the work, the sweat, and the toil into it, and that it's something that they want to use. We most recently saw this, or we see it with things like Apple computers and Nike shoes, these very strong brands who have understood that people are passionate about the things that they buy. So that's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.